So I bought Lila, my dog, a new Rocketbook because she's got an essay which she needs to write, but she didn't have any notepads. And much like her mum, she was very into sustainability. So I bought it for her, and Lila's told me that if she passes this essay, her studies are completed, so she doesn't need the Rocketbook anymore. So she's gonna give it away to one lucky viewer. All you have to do is like, comment which Rocketbook you want, and subscribe. And when this video reaches 30,000 views, I will be sending the lucky winner a new Rocketbook. But she doesn't want to give you just any present. She wants to know that the present that you're receiving is good and that you'll like it. So we're going to review it along the way, as well as writing her essay. Silly girl, she left it till the last minute because she's only got an hour till submission. And what happens if Lila doesn't manage to get the essay in on time? She fails and becomes a big doggy dunce. So I bought Lila the Rocketbook Fusion, and this one is A4 size and kind of reddy burgundy colour. I also bought her the Rocketbook pouch magnetic cover, and which, to be honest, as a dog mum, I have my qualms with. Firstly, I don't really love how it doesn't really fold backwards flat. How's she gonna write like this? Eh? How? It has got a nice pen holder though, and it does feel nice and sturdy. Thankfully, the Rocketbook, given that Lila's only 6 kilos, the Rocketbook is nice and light itself. Probably only weighing a couple of 100 grams. This is probably about the same weight, so it doubles it. If I were going to buy her a Rocketbook again, I would probably get a smaller and probably non-branded version of this type of portfolio. So Lila got to work with her 4-page essay. However, upon starting it, she realised that she actually was left poured and kept rubbing out all of the ink that she was writing. I hadn't really considered this, given that she's not really written any long-form content before. She also realised about 5 words in, after asking for treats and help, that she has an extremely limited vocabulary, so she asked Mum to write for her. So Dawn got to work writing the essay. The pen's run out, for fuck's sake, and I can't just use a different one because it's a special pen. Lila, why did you leave this essay so late? We've only got 45 minutes. I'm gonna go finish it at the cafe and buy a pen on the way. Children. Half an hour later, Dawn was back. She'd finished the essay and she was ready to submit it. Thankfully, she had a nice, easy way to do it with the Rocketbook app. With the clock ticking down, time was of the essence, but Dawn had lost her phone. Okay, let's talk in a little more detail, now we've got the stress of the exam or the essay out of the way, about what I really think as a mother about the Rocketbook. Personally, I really love the concept of the Rocketbook, and I got this one because it was sort of all-inclusive of everything I needed. It's very thin. I think this is a real shame though. If I were to do it again, I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't buy this. It's just too bulky, and it's just adds so much extra size to such a small notebook, but it does stop it from bending in your bag. What I do love about this, which you don't get with conventional notebooks, like paper notebooks, is the edges just stay, and it just stays nice and clean. What I hate about paper notebooks is the kind of curling at the edge, and as soon as it gets wet, it like goes all, that's the formal term for it. Now what I will comment on is, it is very easy to clean. I actually the other day had to remove some writing that had been on there since literally a year ago, and you really can't see it. So when I first rubbed it off, you could kind of see the outline, and I was a bit worried. You can really faintly and vaguely see the leftovers, but it might not even be visible on camera. It's so small. So, I mean, it rubs off really well. One of the bigger issues that does bother me in the outside world is if you run out of ink. You kind of have to take a spare pen with you, because if you run out of ink with this, like, you can't just use somebody else's pen. And actually, during that video, I actually did run out of ink. I've got a whole set of those pens because they actually come in sets, so I would recommend buying a set. But if you forget and only take one with you, it could be a bit of a nightmare, and I guess you'd have to borrow a pen and paper or something. I love the Rocketbook app. I think it's so easy to use. It literally goes straight to my iCloud on my MacBook, and it links with other Dropboxes and clouds, like literally Dropbox, Google Drive, OneDrive and things like that. So it is very all-inclusive. It's not just like an Apple thing, like an Apple associated app. You can have a look at the specs of the Rocketbook Fusion and the other ones. I don't need to go into them here because you can literally read them online and decide which one you want. There are loads of different types available. The reason why I liked the Rocketbook Fusion was because it had a sort of planner, like goals and planner / journaling vibe at the start, which honestly I don't use that often. I've only just rubbed off the stuff from last year. But then it's got this kind of dotted area. I've been planning out my videos in this. It also gives you a section here where you can write down what your different codes mean. So if you forget, what you do is you cross one of these codes at the bottom. If you can see them, I hope you can. And it automatically uploads to that folder on your Google Drive or, you know, iCloud or whatever. I've already set mine up to go into certain folders depending on what I want them to go to. To be honest, most of them go to my YouTube, so the bell. Okay, let's move on to the cons because I'm very good at that section. So it does not feel like paper at all. If you want a paper-like experience, do not buy this product because it is slippy, slidey, it has no scratch, it has no friction. You just like glide across the page, and I feel like some people kind of like the security of, or like the feeling of paper and like that paper-like feel. There is none of that here. There are some very obvious and fairly annoying issues with this. I'm not left-handed, but apparently Lila is, and if you're writing, I could imagine it would smudge across, but I know a lot of left-handed people do account for that on normal paper anyway and write a little bit differently and have been doing that their whole lives, so it's not really a concern. My issue is, I'm right-handed and I'm a bit scatterbrained, so I'll write a bit at the top, I'll write a bit at the bottom, I'll go between pages. It's difficult to do that with this because you write something and then you smudge it. It probably dries within 30 seconds, I'd say, but sometimes you want to just turn the page, you know, you're in a flow, but you can't turn the page until it's dry. So you kind of have to wait or blow it. The other day I cleaned this whole book front to back. I think it's 18 pages. 18 pages front and back. It took me a very long time. I'm gonna say probably 20 minutes because it's quick to rub it off, but then you have to either wait for the page to dry, because if you turn it, then the pages stick together because they're wet and then they don't dry quickly enough. So you either have to like dry them yourself or be patient and wait for them all to dry individually and just keep coming back. What I opted for was a wet cloth on both sides, put a tea towel over, rub it, and then go on to the next page. I had the whole book to do and it did take me a long time. I ended up having to go back and do some of the pages again because some of the residue of the pen was left over, and that was kind of annoying. And I'm still finding it now. I mean, that's probably my own fault for leaving it all to just do in one day. So here it is. You can probably see I don't know if you can see. You can kind of see the residue left over. And that's because the pages were stuck together completely of my own doing, but this one's not actually that bad. There were some that were definitely worse, but you know, you kind of just want to get on with your life. Now, that's just a limitation of having a paper or physical notebook system. Thanks so much for watching, guys.